There's been a shocking turn for the GTHA's condo market.
And if the builder sells it at that 1-1, they can now come after you for the difference. I think
Really?
that's something a lot of people don't realize.
I didn't realize that
Yeah,
either.
these
I
builder
don't do a lot of
contracts are
pre-funding.
crazy.
So this is a huge impact on the market.
Yep.
This is the lowest sales since 2009. 1,581 delayed projects in Brampton. 1,434 in Hamilton.
Wow.
1,420 in Vaughan. This is happening all over. So they're paying that rent.
Yeah.
Their units are flooded. They can't rent it out to anybody else. You're gonna be a dog dad?
Potentially.
No way.
We have a picture?
What kind of dog?
Mini golden doodle.
Is that like a little dog?
Yeah, I
Is
think
that
it's
like
gonna
a
be-
little dog?
Mini golden.
I think it's
Is
gonna
that like
be
a little dog? The mini?
I'm a cat person.
I think it's gonna be like it starts off like 7 to 10 pounds, but then it grows up to 20. So we've been
Okay,
talking
that's not
about it
bad.
for a
That's
while.
like a medium-sized
Super
dog.
Yeah,
cute dog.
That's the
and
size
then-
of my cat.
It's funny. So we've been talking about it for a while, and then like I've been doing research here and there. And then
Yeah.
yesterday, I actually showed a rental condo to these clients,
Yeah.
and then they were like, "Oh, like is the unit pet friendly?" And I was like, "Yeah, like they have like a." They're like, "Oh yeah, we have a small dog," and then they brought their dog with them, and then the dog comes out and it's a mini golden doodle. I was like, "No way!" So I was asking like a million questions,
Sign.
but it was so cute.
Yeah.
I
Divine
think
alignment.
we'll probably get one
Gotta
before
pop
the
the question
before
after
the
that
summer
then.
starts.
Get a dog, it's over.
Yeah, that's coming up too.
Oh boy.
Dog- dogs last
There's
forever.
a lot of stuff happening on this podcast right now. Hey guys, how's it going?
Pressure's
back.
Yeah, good.
Made it to
Welcome.
episode
4.
of Keeping It
Keeping it fresh.
Keeping It Fresh.
That was terrible.
We need to be.
That was a bad.
It's all good.
I think that was perfect.
We'll try that for episode 5.
Yeah.
Keeping
so
it. And we're like pressure.
Jin cares too much about the intro.
So we've almost made it past the 7 episode mark.
Yeah, episode
Almost,
4.
yeah.
The
Yep.
stat is if you make it past 7, you're golden.
Set.
Golden,
We're
yeah.
getting a golden doodle who we're going to be bringing onto the episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ian's getting married.
No, not yet.
Jin's gonna have a baby. No, I'm kidding.
I'm having a what?
Yeah, Jin's having a baby.
I feel like
Kidding,
everyone's
not.
getting
I'm
engaged.
pregnant.
We're at an age where like everyone's getting pregnant or everyone's getting
married.
engaged.
Yeah.
Or married.
Yeah.
Yeah, that too.
Well, it's nice to see you guys.
Nice to see you
Yeah,
guys
you too.
too.
Yeah, you guys look fresh.
So do you.
Thank you.
Like the shirt?
I've gotten some sleep
Yeah.
and I've been doing yoga.
Good for
Nice.
you.
Yeah.
Hot or
Nice.
normal?
Hot.
Okay.
Hot yoga, yeah.
At Mavati?
Movati, you're
Oh,
there too?
you do the
I love
classes?
I can't do hot yoga right now though. I'm pregnant.
Oh, yeah. But
Do you go
can
to
this
Meadowville?
guy. What's that?
Do you go to Meadowville, Mavati, or Burlington?
No, I go to Burlington
Yeah, I know,
because
'cause
that's
you're
yeah. But when I come
I
to
go
the office in the
one
morning, I go to
in
Mississauga.
like right near Meadowville.
Yeah.
It's like off the highway, right?
Yeah,
Mississauga?
yeah. I've been there a couple times. It's a good gym.
Christy
Yeah.
goes there. Jeff goes there.
No, I think Jeff goes to Good Life.
No, you switched to Mavati.
Yeah.
Ooh,
It's
bougie
always
too.
busy, though.
Everyone's getting.
Yeah.
Are you gonna come to Mavati?
No, because I have a Good Life 2 minutes away from my house.
You've
That's
been
fair.
working out though.
That's fair.
Yeah,
I feel like this entire episode has just been catching up with each other. Yeah, but we need to see each other more often, okay, guys?
know,
you guys
I
are so
know.
busy doing deals
I
out
know.
there.
Half the time, one of us isn't in the office or
Yeah.
Busy making a baby.
busy making a baby.
Yeah.
I've already made the baby. Now I'm growing the baby.
Amazing. Okay, cool. I wanted to chat
All
about a
right.
couple things today.
All right.
let's hear it.
You guys
Start
have
it
no
off.
idea what I'm going to be bringing up.
No, I'm
but
excited for these questions.
There's been a shocking turn for the GTHA's condo market.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
including the Halton region as well.
Okay.
So obviously we've heard some horror stories over the last couple of years where people have gotten pre-construction projects. They've put deposits down and then they've been tied up for years. And then the projects don't finish. Have you guys?
Yeah, they fail.
Oh,
Yeah.
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 I'm hearing about that.
So this is what's been happening. Developers have halted 60 projects, leaving 21,000 units in limbo right now. So people that have booked units, 21,000 have been in limbo. Sales,
And like put deposits down?
deposits down. This has been a significant increase since last summer, where there were over 8,000 delayed units across 31 buildings. Now there's 21,000 units in limbo. That's so wild. What's your reaction?
Now,
to
is
this?
that because of like funding? Like the builders can't get funding from the banks? Or
Very good question. So there's a lot of
like
different reasons.
construction
I think
holds?
we could dive into a lot of those. So high interest rates and lack of market confidence.
Okay.
Those are two of the main reasons.
Okay, but wait. When you buy a pre-construction unit,
Sure.
you have to have a pre-approval majority of the time to give to the builder, no?
No. That's actually one of the benefits of getting a pre-construction unit because you can
yeah.
actually Oh, you do need
But
that.
because they need to show the bank we have like 70% of the project sold. Here's the here's the proof. Here's the agreement.
I think it depends on the builder, no? Because technically speaking, if I buy a pre-construction today, I might not be able to qualify for that mortgage today. But you buy like so that in 4 or 5 years, you know you're going to be making more money, so that you would qualify for it then.
You would hope so.
Yeah, correct.
From a mortgage perspective, let's say you did book a pre-construction project 3 years ago.
Yep.
Let's say it's closing next year. What's happening with the people that cannot get a mortgage today?
You would hope that there's an assignment clause in the agreement from the purchase from the builder a few years ago. And if that's the case, you would want to try to assign it immediately, regardless if you're going to be making a profit or not. So there's that. Sometimes people lose their deposits because there's a clause in there that says, you know, if you can't close on it, you forfeit your deposits.
Yeah.
So that happens as well.
I've seen builders go after, because it doesn't really stop at the deposit. I found so if you bought like a pre-construction during COVID, for example, let's just say at 1.5, and the value today, you've put, you know, let's just say $200,000 down for context, and the value is only 1.1 today. If the builder, if you don't close, you've now lost your deposit, and if the builder sells it at that 1.1, they can now come after you for the difference. I think that's something a lot of people don't realize.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, these builder contracts are crazy. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, there's a lot of, and if you don't respond to their messages, you just forfeit your deposit automatically. So I've had some clients that have been stressing out about their property that's going to be closing soon.
Yeah.
They're getting these calls from because a lot of them, they just slap amendments on the project.
Yep.
They increase the price all of a sudden, and there's other things that are tied in that as well. So a lot of these clients don't want to sign these amendments. So when they're pushing them forward, if you don't respond, boom, you forfeited your $100,000, $150,000 deposit.
I know that builders, when they're launching projects, they have phases, right? So you have like your VIP stage where it's like the cheapest, and then as the stages go on for condo buildings, it gets higher. Per floor is like a higher price as well, especially downtown Toronto.
So these are some of the stats. That's the GT. That's specifically Toronto. The stats outside of Toronto. Are you ready for these?
Ready.
You know how many
Because
delayed
I'm in
projects
Halton.
there are?
Yeah,
in Halton, Brampton, Mississauga. 1,581 delayed projects in Brampton.
Wow.
1,434 in Hamilton.
Wow.
1,420 in Vaughan. This is happening all over the place.
Are these units or projects?
These are units.
So not even like freehold, semis, detaches. These are condos.
Condo units, yeah.
Wow.
But they could also be some of those as well, depending on what
a
the
condo building, a high...
1,500 in Mississauga, did you say?
1,500 delayed units in Mississauga.
That's not 1,500.
Sorry, no. In Mississauga, a little bit less.
That's not bad. That's like two condo buildings.
I feel like it's not the worst. Yeah, I feel like if
they're high rise,
it's still bad.
It's still it's still bad for those 1,500 people.
Yeah, but could you imagine being one of those people?
Yeah, no, that would be. Yeah. I would be really upset.
So, what was the reason why people were getting into pre-con before? This idea of
the staggered deposit structure, because they couldn't afford to put that X amount down right now, or they didn't have closing costs.
But I think during COVID, a lot of people bought pre-construction with the notion that they were going to assign it before closing and make a profit, because that's what the narrative was. A lot of people were successful doing that, but I don't think that's a strategy. Like, I think at the end of the day, you can think about that, but you have to always be ready to close. Like, there's people that bought like 4 or 5 of the same unit with the notion to assign it, and now are fucked because they can't close on them.
Yeah. And nobody's willing to pay that price.
Yeah.
But you know what? A lot of people don't realize too. They think that it's cheaper to actually buy the pre-construction when in reality it's actually not, because your pre-con today is priced at like inflated prices, not today's prices. Yeah, what it's going to be worth then. And if the prices go down like they have been from 2022 to now, like prices have relatively come down in some micro markets. Yeah, you're screwed.
So this is a huge impact on the market.
Yep.
This is the lowest sales since 2009, the financial crisis.
I saw that, in March.
These are numbers that just came out. So a lot of people right now, there are people that need to buy pre-con, but we're always talking about residential resale. What are some situations where we would consider pre-construction as an option?
I think for some people, if you are a first-time buyer and you might not necessarily have the deposit ready right now, a pre-construction may make sense because you have the staggered deposit structure is really nice, and the fact about qualifying for the mortgage as well.
I'm gonna just fix my papers.
You know, a lot of times if you're, you know, in a position where you might not necessarily be able to qualify for a mortgage right now, but you know that in 4 or 5 years, you're pretty confident that you would be able to qualify at that point. That's another.
Yeah.
But you would also have to, going back to what I was just saying, because I kind of lost my train of thought, you have to make sure that you have more money because there's extra closing costs with pre-con. There's the levy fees, you know, the
Development fees.
Yeah, the development fees, sometimes HST, certain things you have to pay for in addition to your closing costs. And a lot of people think, oh, I can't afford resale right now. Let me just buy a pre-con unit. And then comes time for closing, they weren't educated enough or educated on the extra closing costs.
Yeah.
So that's a factor.
And there's always an interim period before closing.
Yes.
Where it's called
Yes.
occupancy.
Yeah.
You're
So some
renting
people
from the builder.
Exactly. Yeah. So you're now tied into these payments for sometimes upwards to a year.
Yeah.
Or even more.
Even longer, depending on like if it's a big build.
If it's a high rise, yeah.
And you can't rent it out during that period sometimes to other people, depending on what the builders say. So now you're stuck with this half-finished project.
Yep.
You can't rent it out. There's a couple of people that I know where their units have flooded
Oh, really?
during the
God.
occupancy period. So
I've heard about that I won't
paying-
say the addresses, but I know a couple in Mississauga.
Yeah. So they're paying that rent.
Yeah.
Their units are flooded. They can't rent it out to anybody else. So there's just nightmares that happen between that occupancy period right up until closing. Elevators aren't finished. The buildings are still like half constructed.
I've heard about that happening, but in the freehold space, in places in Oakville too, where it's the interim occupancy. The roads aren't paved. There's still like a row of houses can be complete, but on the other side, they're building fresh house. So it's like bang, 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 7:30 in the morning. All this construction happening. You're living in a construction zone.
The builders are just trying to get it up as fast as possible,
Fast as humanly possible.
to a state good enough that they can force you to move in and start paying the
If the water
occupancy
is
fees.
running, the lights are on, and the heat and air conditioning is working, you can move in.
Because they can give you 24 hours notice to come in and do the other things. I don't know what those specific things are, but I've seen a lot of projects that
So
are.
I think it's very important to get in front of a realtor because the builder is going to say, hey, look, you don't have to put down any money. Just put down $5,000 today. And, you know, years later, you're going to have to put down this 20%, but it's such a beautiful structure. Plus, we're going to give you a free parking spot. Plus, we're going to give you free assignment. Plus, here's the package. Like, look at this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then there's all of these hidden things.
fees,
A lot of my friends and family, they always ask me, like, Jinder, should I get a pre-construction so that, you know, I can push out my payments? Or should I get a residential resale? I always say residential resale.
I always say residential resale too. I mean, like, if you have the money and you're a seasoned investor and you know that like this is the route that you want to go, 100% go pre-con, go downtown, right?
Yeah.
That's where you're gonna get the most bang for your buck. But resale all the way for me.
So that was one of the things that I saw. I thought that was pretty wild because those are staggering numbers.
Yeah,
you know
those
what I
are.
mean?
Yeah, I just feel bad for the people that might be losing their deposits because they can't afford to close, or the people that have deposits tied up.
Yeah, it's
Sad.
tough situations for both. I think, a lot of people receive bad guidance from whether it was agents or family friends that kind of forced them to go into it with the notion that they were going to make a lot of money and are now really financially
Yeah,
screwed.
because they're not making a profit.
But then you have other people that bought for the purpose of living in that even if they bought during the COVID time, right now the appraisals aren't coming in. So, if you bought let's say you bought a condo at $600K and it's only appraising at $520, the bank's not going to finance that 80% of the 600. They're going to finance 80% of the $520.
Yeah.
So you're stuck
Needing $80,000 more.
trying to, make up the difference. And a lot of people might not, depending on what that amount is, might not have that money readily available.
Yeah.
So then you're going to family, friends, trying to make it up so that you're not losing your deposit and getting sued at the end of the day, which is a tough spot to be in for anybody.
Yeah, my advice is always, even if you are going to be buying directly from a builder, bring it to a realtor so that they can look through the contract. You want to make sure that you have proper assignment clauses in there. Sometimes you have to pay an extra amount of money to even assign the property.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things that you should be going through if you're going that route. But dialing gears to a different direction right now, because we are heavily in residential resale, there's been a lot happening in that under $1 million mark.
Yes.
In the market, there's different, markets all around the GTA where we're seeing
Different micro markets.
Multiple offers.
Oh my God, yes.
It's happening.
It's
It's coming
happening.
back for sure.
It
Yeah.
is.
Depending
and
on the
offer
micro market.
presentation dates as well. But buyers are smarter this time around, and agents are smarter this time around, because what happened during COVID was everyone's like, okay, you have to do it this way, and freaking out, and no conditions, and this and that.
Yeah.
People, properties are still selling multiple offers with conditions.
Correct. I've seen
Which
that
is
happen a lot.
honestly amazing to see.
Yeah.
Yeah. You were recently in a multiple offer
Yes.
situation. You were the listing agent.
Yeah.
How many offers did you have come in?
Ooh, yeah, good
were there
question.
a lot of showings? Like, what happened there?
Yeah, for the Guelph house, we listed it. We took a risk listing it because it was Easter long weekend. So we took a risk. I found that a lot of people were either waiting before, like doing it a week before, or doing it after. So I kind of took a risk and did it that week because I knew there was reduced competition. The showings were good. We had about 26 showings.
Wow.
We had a lot of groups, I think over 30 groups to the open houses both days. We ended up getting 5 offers on the property, and then we sold firm for 700,
Wow, you
which was
sold
solid.
firm.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was good. Yeah.
What did
But-
those offers look like? Not, you don't have to say the number, but were some right at list price, or were?
I would say I had some at list.
Yeah.
I don't want to go too
I
into
don't know
it.
why those people even come out, but they
Yeah.
help.
But actually,
sellers.
no,
Worth a
I-
shot, but it's those buyers that need to learn, right?
You know what? It's funny because there was one at, I don't know if I'm allowed to say it, but like there was one at list, and then I spoke to the agent after it sold, and then she was just like, did you get firm? And I was like, yeah, it sold firm. And then when I told her the price when we got the deposit,
Yeah.
she told me, she was like, listen, it was our first time out. Like
Oh,
my
yeah.
buyer has to learn like the way
Yeah.
it works. And I was like, understood. Like,
Those
that's
are
how
the
it
buyers
is.
that are complaining about the bidding wars and the prices
Yeah.
going up. It's like,
Yeah.
you are the one that's making
Yeah.
the prices go up. You shouldn't have
Yeah.
even put an offer in
Yeah.
on that property. But yeah, so
Yeah.
multiple offers are back.
Yeah, I'm
I
in
was-
Burlington right now with
Yeah.
a client, and it's happening. They've lost 4 properties so far, but it's
Wow.
not even, hundreds of thousands over asking, right? It's the price is 1.1 and under.
Mhm.
That's very, very active in Burlington right now. Those smaller semi-detaches, those freehold townhomes, it's tough.
Okay, well
tough.
then what do you think the secret sauce is to winning a bidding war in today's current markets? Because they're not
It's a
going
firm
over.
offer.
Firm offer.
Is a firm offer, because
Okay.
you have to really think about it. If you're walking into a property and everything has been redone, realistically, like there's been a new furnace, new AC, new roof the last couple years, what else is a home inspector going to go and check?
I think,
The electrical,
yeah.
right? The electrical, the plumbing a little bit.
Right.
But if anything's wrong, they're going to refer you out to, please speak with a professional. This is just, my home inspector has this like cool gadget that they look for
Yeah.
water damage and stuff like that. So it soothes the soul for home inspection, but sometimes you have to ask a buyer, are you okay? And they have to make that choice, right? You can't suggest to not put it in. They have to
Correct.
make that decision.
I think if you're like, price is a huge thing for sellers. Comes down, like if you're close, like if you're within, 5 or 10K
Yeah.
between a firm and a conditional offer,
Yeah.
you're likely going to go with the firm offer.
Firm
But,
offer,
you know,
yeah.
what do you do if you're in that 15 to 20K mark?
Yeah.
I think, as a listing agent, if someone has their financing in order, that's a huge thing.
Yep.
And then if it's just an inspection that's fairly quick, a couple
Yeah.
business days, and you're confident
Yeah,
about the property and there's nothing wrong.
I was just going to say, if
Yeah.
a seller is confident that there's nothing wrong with the property and you have an offer that's $20,000 more, why not just take that offer? You're confident nothing's going to come back that's wrong with the property, knock on wood, and you're $20,000 richer.
What I've been seeing a couple of agents do now is pre-list, which has always been an option, is do a
Yeah.
pre-listing inspection.
Yep.
You can't always trust it because obviously, like, it's better to do
Sellers.
your own inspection
Yeah.
at the end of the day. But it is still there. That kind of gives you a basis
Yeah.
to look at, if you are putting in an offer. And you can always do a pre-listing, like if you're putting in an offer and, there's 5 days until the offer presentation,
Yeah.
you can always pay to have an inspection done. But obviously, if you lose out on the offer presentation, you've now spent, $300-400 on the inspection, and
Yeah.
you've lost out on the property, right? So you're likely paying that money again.
If
On
you,
the
if
next
you're doing
one.
like a
Yeah.
pre-offer, yeah.
But just more so for peace of mind,
Yep.
when you're buying a million, whatever,
Just a part
of the
$1 million
cost.
property.
Yeah.
I know there was like a season where we were doing a lot of inspections before putting in offers.
Mhm.
Finally, clients of mine got the home that they wanted, but it was many pre-inspections just to make sure
Yeah.
what they
That
were
home
buying.
inspector probably made a lot of money.
Yeah, the home inspector made a lot of money, but they were also happier too. They
Yeah.
knew that, we're going to be competing, and if we are, we're going in firm. This much over asking, we want to be confident. What's $400 as opposed to mold in the attic.
Yeah.
Or, you know
For
what
sure,
I mean? A massive
yeah.
The
plumbing
things you can't
issue
see,
or
yeah.
things like that.
Exactly. For the money you
Um,
spend, it's negligible at the end of the day.
Correct.
So it is exciting what's happening in the market right now, but it's also cool that prices aren't going crazy above asking.
I was just going to say, even though it's multiple offers, it's not like 10, 15, 20 offers. I mean, on some really good properties, yes, but
I think the smartest buyers were the ones that came out in October, November,
Oh
December,
my God,
yeah.
those were
There
the.
was
Yeah.
No, I would say like
competition.
January was.
January was
Thank-
like,
like,
I think January, February was like the bottom of the bottom of the bottom of the market.
Geniuses.
Yeah.
Oh,
Geniuses.
you guys think so?
I think they were
so.
smart people.
Oh, I don't think so.
I think it was like the
Oh,
bottom.
you don't?
No, I think the fall was. I think fall was way worse than January.
Well, fall for inventory purposes, yeah.
I think in terms of price, you would depending on the market. I think you
Oh,
would have
wait.
got a way better deal in the fall than you would have.
You would have.
in January, February
Yeah, okay,
for sure.
I think you're right, yeah.
Because things started picking up.
Right up until there. Okay.
Yeah,
yeah,
There was no
yeah.
competing offers.
No.
Yeah.
All the buyers are on the sidelines. The smart ones came out and they got their
Yeah.
properties.
Oh, yeah.
Sales were low, but they got their properties.
And this is the thing, though. People always want to say, I want to wait till the rates come down. But you marry the house, you date the rate.
I love that.
Right? Date the rate. Ian's dealing with an offer.
Ian is dealing with an
That's
offer.
okay.
The
Bring your
other
laptop
thing-
out,
the
Ian.
other
We're doing
thing-
this live.
Yeah, let's go, Ian. The other thing that I think is happening right now is some buyers are coming out and competing because they just do not want to see what happens
Yep.
when rates do come down.
Yep.
They're like, okay, we're willing to go compete because we know prices aren't going above crazy.
Yeah.
These homes are still going for market value. So
But some
let's-
people just have a set budget, like a
know.
set price point that they can't go over, right? So that's the hard part when, like, for example, there was this townhouse in Burlington, and then there was a semi-detached in Burlington. The semi-detached was smaller than the townhouse.
Wow.
How? I don't know. And the townhouse went for $950. The semi went for $1,047,000. But it's the stigma of semi-detached.
I know.
Right? That's what it is. So
You're never going to, I mean,
No.
that makes sense. Even though it's smaller, semis are going to
Yeah.
sell for higher.
Can we
Townhouses
talk
can
about-
only appreciate up until the semis.
yeah. Can we
So-
talk about what you guys think the market's going to be going into, like the end of spring, going into summer? Because we know that the Bank of Canada held the rate in April, right? Bank of Canada held the rate. So what do you think is going to happen in June?
So there's a lot of buyers out there right now. So when we're looking at these offers that are coming in, there's, you had that multiple offer situation. There's 5 people that didn't get a house.
Yeah.
I was in a competing situation the other day. There's 13 people that didn't get a house.
Yeah.
I'm going to be competing again tonight with another 15 offers.
Yeah.
There's all these people that are now starting to come out of the woodworks.
Yeah.
So we do know there's buyers putting in offers
Yeah.
actively. So that does mean that there's going to be some activity. It's just where are the prices going to be?
That's a good door knock around that house that
Yeah.
just sold, right? To say my
Oh, yeah.
buyer just lost out, you know?
For sure. Yeah, I'm interested to see what kind of happens with rates because I feel like on our episode 1 and 2, we were kind of based on everything that was going on. We were
Yeah.
convinced that
Yeah.
we were going to see a rate cut in June, July. I don't know if I'm as convinced now that it's 100% going to happen.
It'll be like 0.25. It's not going to be anything drastic. The Bank of Canada has learned their lesson. They're not going to do anything like
But I still think a 0.25 rate cut would help. I'm not 100%
it would
confident that
help
it's going to happen.
a small bit on affordability, right, with your pre-approvals. But I mean, at the time we're recording this, the bond yields have gone up a little bit, which means the fixed rates have gone up just slightly, right?
Yeah.
I've been getting all these emails from lenders that on the mortgage side of things, rates are going up on X date because the bond yields have gone up, right?
Right.
They have to correlate with that. So
I'm
Yeah,
not
I don't
even
know where I was
talking
going
about
with
it
that
from
thought.
like an affordability standpoint. It was more so just a mind thing, like a
Oh,
mind
yeah.
shift. Because
A
people
mind
see
shift.
what people like buy into
Yeah.
what the media is saying, right? And if the media is playing
people follow
into
the herd.
yeah,
Right? You have to not follow the herd and do the opposite of what did Warren Buffett say? Be greedy when everyone's scared, be
Yeah.
scared when everybody's greedy.
There's blood on the streets. That's when he's buying.
Yeah.
Everybody's, selling at
Yeah.
that point.
Do the opposite of what people are doing.
Unless you're
a seller
are
and- yeah.
not a part of the herd
And
and
you-
you're making the wrong
and-
decisions.
yeah.
Because nobody wants
Yeah.
to be that person that's making that wrong decision
no,
Yeah.
for
at the
sure.
end of the day, right?
Yeah.
And, when the market was peaking and everybody was selling, that was a good thing to do at that
Yep.
time. So sometimes you do have to
Yep. But going
Depends
into
on what side of the coin you're on.
but going into the summer, a lot of people who have already thought ahead have already made that move, right? With their kids needing to be in school, or the downsizers are all happening now too, right?
Yeah.
And the people who need to worry about where their kids are going to go to school.
I'm interested to see what's going to happen with the rental market as well, because I found this winter the rental market was like extremely slow.
Ooh, did you guys hear about the new rental bill of rights? Sorry to interrupt you.
Oh.
No, I did not.
Tell us.
Well, I heard
more.
briefly about it, but like,
Look how excited her face is.
She
is.
Got notes. Okay, so no, because I'm glad you went into that, because with renters right now, again, I know we're not going to get political, but Trudeau just came out with his budget, and in there was a renter's bill of rights. So there's 3 major points to that. So landlords will be required to disclose property rental price history to prospective tenants. 99% of the time that already happens. It's on MLS. You hit history and you can see it, right? But for the the private deals, right? The ones on Facebook Marketplace or anything like that, they will legally need to disclose what their previous rental price was if it's not on MLS.
What difference does that really make? It was $1,500 4 years ago. The price today is $2,500.
Yeah.
Do you pay it or you
just
move
saying,
on?
it's just a thought.
And it's just justifiable.
It's just a point.
You can say, look, that price 5 years ago is not the price today. Look at these last 5 that just rented.
Exactly.
In the same building that are just the same size. That's what market value is right now.
But landlords will be required to disclose. Again, 99% of the time it's on MLS, and you can just look at the history,
and
right?
At the end of the day, landlords kind of control everything. Look at how long it took you to get your place.
I know. Oh my
and you're
God.
like the best tenant in the world.
The next point was rental payments will be affecting your credit score. And his point was, if you make a mortgage payment on time, it reflects your credit. So why not make when you're making rent payments, why doesn't that reflect your credit as well? Which I think is a positive thing. So when there's like lifetime renters, having that say, I've been renting for the last 15 years, like I'm a good tenant. I pay my rent on time and never missed a payment. So I think there might be like a requirement for tenants to, for landlords to actually put that in. Like it might be like a legal requirement. I think that's
good, because when you have tenants that don't pay on time,
they will be negatively affected.
Yeah. Well, actually, I don't know if landlords would do that now, because.
But I think they're going to have to. Like, it's going to be a requirement. Every landlord.
Why don't you think landlords would do that?
Because now that I'm thinking about it, it's okay. Let's just say you have a tenant in your property that's not paying their rent on time every month, and you're reporting that they're not paying their rent on time. What are the chances that someone else is going to rent to them? You know what I mean?
Well, that's the point.
So, well, it kind of screws you over as the landlord. That's why I don't see landlords doing it.
Wait, how would that screw the landlord over if the tenant isn't paying the rent?
Because the landlord's already being screwed over.
They're already being screwed over, but now their credit's damaged, right?
The tenant's credit, not the landlord.
The tenant's credit, that's what I mean. So, like,
but that's their fault. They're not paying their rent.
100%.
But they're not going to be able to get anything anywhere else.
Correct. Exactly. So they're going to stay in your property and not pay you any more rent.
Until.
Oh, you mean they're going to be like squatters?
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay, I get what you're saying. Yep.
Yeah, but they're already squatters.
100%.
They're already not
I know.
paid.
I get it. But
they should be punished. There's like a list now that's coming out.
Just
There's this website where people can input.
That's really good.
You heard about it, right?
It's Open Room.
Yeah.
So it's basically it's called Open Room. Basically, if you're a tenant and you need to have an order from the landlord and tenant board, but if you get like an eviction order, now your landlord can post that onto Open Room. And your name, like, so whenever I'm vetting tenants now, like, I'm always searching their name up, like, Googling them, searching them up on Open Room. Yeah. And, like, as it gets bigger, if your name's on there for an eviction or for whatever it is, the chances of you getting a place are shot.
Yeah. And it's your fault.
Yeah.
But, and that's the thing, that it's your fault. But I think with this point is that all of those people who can't afford a mortgage or can't afford to buy a property, it will help the credit because you're a good tenant.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah.
And then the last point is, I mean, it's not a lot of money. It says $15 million, and it's a fund, basically a tenant protection fund for provincial legal aid organizations to help tenants fight a landlord's abuse of quote unquote renovictions. So landlords evict tenants to say that they need to significantly do renovations, unfairly raising rents, and then just bad landlords. But $15 million, that's the federal budget. So is that across all provinces? Because if that's so, that's not a lot of money for all provinces, one. Two, unfairly raising rents. We all know that, what is it, November 15th, 2018?
Yeah, for rent control.
Maybe that should just be scrapped. Because, one of my best friends is going through that right now. they're raising her rent $300 because it's just a new build. Like, it's so unfair in my opinion. Why are you doing that?
Yeah, I do get it from the tenant standpoint. At the same time, it's like the landlord's mortgage has been raised by how much, right? At the same time.
Yeah, but why the buildings that have been built before 2018,
Correct,
those landlords
yeah.
are probably going through the same thing.
Exactly, yeah. I don't necessarily
Right?
agree with it.
Just because it's a new building.
Yeah. Yeah, I never understood the basis
don't
because
agree with
essentially a
it.
landlord could raise it by $1,000 if they really wanted to.
Yeah.
Now, does that law apply to like semi-detaches and freeholds too? If
Yeah,
it was built?
everything.
Yeah, like I think that should be scrapped because if
There's some things that just don't make sense.
yeah, like if that's
like
in
the
there,
amortization that we were talking about
Yeah,
last episode.
yeah.
There's just certain things that weren't,
unfairly raising rents, like that whole thing should just be scrapped in my opinion.
yeah.
So yeah, that's the new tenant bill of rights.
I mean, I've gotten some clients because of that. Hey, like our landlord's about to increase our rent by
Yeah.
X number of dollars. We need to now buy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, let's do it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's, situations where, it's affecting people and they have to move. They're never going to find anything as
Yeah.
nice as that, but
yeah,
For sure.
it's annoying. For
it's
sure.
annoying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another thing that's happening right now, capital gains. So
Oh, yes.
yeah.
Let's dive deep into that.
higher
That was happening,
tax
last
bills
month that came
Yeah.
out.
are around the corner.
Yep.
How do you feel about that?
I think it's there's very specific guidelines for it.
Yeah.
So like I feel like a majority of people it may not affect.
Yep.
Because it is over
Isn't it
like
above?
it's capital over what $250,000 a
I'm
year.
not sure what the
Yeah.
So-
So the federal budget released last week to propose to raise the inclusion rate on capital gains greater than 250,000 from 50% to 66.7%.
Oh yeah.
It's basically 2/3. So that's expected to kick in June 25th
This year?
this year. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So just give me all of your money, says the government.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people that own cottages right now that are
gonna
rushing
say, yeah.
to sell their
Yeah.
place. And do you think it's realistic right now? It's April 20.
And
What
we
is it
have
right
to
now?
close before.
Oh right, yeah.
I mean, we can have something listed within a week.
And
If
it's
we-
hard to sell cottage country because to get a mortgage on a cottage country, it really needs to be a 4-season
Yeah.
property for you to get proper mortgage on it, unless you want to leverage a property you have in the GTA or like a
Right.
residential to then fully fund the cottage. So that's a hard part.
Yeah, so the justification was that the government is targeting the wealthy. Do you think it's the wealthiest being targeted here, or do you think it's going to be the middle class, working class that's being affected by this?
I think it's the wealthy
it's
for
the-
sure.
Okay.
Because I was reading somewhere it's more so about the transfer of wealth from that's happening right now,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Okay.
Interesting.
And it's affecting a lot of those people. And you were talking before about
Yeah.
the how it's affecting a lot of doctors.
Yeah. Their retirement plans, for sure. I think there's also going to be a lot of the people that got these properties given to them, like all the cottages and everything.
Oh, yeah.
So they're going to be now getting taxed. So they're thinking it's unfair because this is going to be upending their plans to retire. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff happening right now.
There's just a lot of news, and I feel like consumers should really dig deep into the facts and not just the headlines on certain things. And really just my message today is just educate yourself on
For sure.
everything.
Yeah.
Right? Talk to a professional and don't just read the headlines that, CBC or the news is,
Exactly.
just
Sometimes
putting out
these
there.
articles are wrong, straight up. There was an
Yeah.
article done by a news network. I won't say which one of the bigger ones in
Yeah,
Canada.
name them. Name
And
them.
should I just name it? Should I just name
go
Who
for
cares?
it.
Yeah, I've just been naming CBC all day.
Yeah. So this article that was written by just a random author, it
Yeah.
could be anybody that's writing
Yeah.
these authors on Zolo or wherever. They basically did a cost breakdown of what a capital gains, how this would affect somebody. And they basically said that they'd be paying X number of dollars with these new changes, which was just completely wrong. And then they had to come out and say, sorry, correction, we were wrong here. So, when these articles come out, talk to somebody, call up your
Yeah.
realtor,
Yeah.
talk to your accountant.
How does this affect
Break
me?
it down
Yeah.
instead of just reading the headline and going crazy, because that's what a
Yeah.
lot of people
Yeah, that's
do.
what a lot of people do.
Yeah.
It's
So when Ian says something, it's usually factual.
It's usually factual because
So,
he's our
if Ian says
team broker record.
then run with it. But if it's Alex or myself, also run with
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, I dig deep into things,
Yeah.
guys. I need to know everything.
Yeah. So yeah, there is a lot of change happening.
Yep.
And I think that takeaway message is great. Be educated.
Yep.
Get in front of everything by reading, but then also reaching out to people that you can talk to, and then make a plan of how am I going to move through this.
Yep.
And how am I going to, get on top of this, as opposed to just, being buried under all these news articles and feeling overwhelmed by it.
Yeah.
So,
Agree.
yeah.
Well, always nice chatting with you guys.
I know. I haven't eaten anything today.
Yeah, I can hear you guys' belly grumbling.
What is it? Like, subscribe.
Oh, like, subscribe, comment, ask us questions. We will have a Q&A session soon enough once we shoot out a couple more episodes. And I think a Q&A session would be really fun to see what consumers' questions are about the real estate market and mortgage markets. If you have questions about mortgages, we can do like a 5-minute mortgage
Start getting guests on the pod too.
Yeah, we're going to get some guests on the podcast.
Yeah, some of them were here today.
Yeah.
Worked in and out.
Are they here? Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And also the signature Ian giggle. I
love Ian's giggle.
It's always there.
Yeah.
It shows up once.
That's what Em said too. Yeah.
Yeah. No, but it's going to be fun.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're
okay,
making
guys. Well, enjoy your
Sweet.
day, and we will see you on the next one.
Thanks for tuning in.
See you guys later.
Bye.
Keeping it fresh.
Keeping it fresh.